Replacing the brake lines on the 97 Dakota. I've already done a few of them, both rears, both fronts, and now I'm replacing the lines that go, at least the one line that goes from the front to the back here. So looking here at the front, I've taken out the line that goes down. Well, there's one small one that comes up to this junction here, so it's on the back here, and I've taken that one off, and it kind of snakes around and it goes down to the junction block here under the wheel. So and that's really easy to get to. You take the wheel off, kind of get it out of the way. You don't need to, but it's easier if you take it out of the way. And then there's a little panel here that at least mine has this little panel that comes off. Sorry, I'm holding it backwards, but it comes off and get right down in there, so it really makes it pretty easy. So the one that I'm replacing, the two that I'm replacing anyways, is one that comes into here and goes up, and then there's another one that is on the back side and goes back. So really very straightforward, but I'm not going to say it's simple, but it's pretty easy if you've got the ability to just get these 12 and they're basically 12 millimeter nuts out if they aren't too terribly rusted. The line going to the back is a challenge, and I hope to show you how we work with that. So hopefully it helps you. Thanks. Okay, working on replacing the brake lines on the 97 Dakota, and I'm laying here under the truck. You can kind of see looking towards the front of the truck there. I've already remove the line going from the junction block at the wheel and coming straight back here. What I've done is I've just unsnapped the line from the little blocks. There's little blocks here that hold it, and easy enough. And I've ended up cutting the line just to make it easy, but you can see it was definitely rusted. So there's another block here where the line was held in. I just popped it out of that. So the problem that I'm having is that the line runs up in between the frame rail and the gas tank here, so I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get a picture of it. It's actually so tight in there, but if you're dealing with this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So looking at the gas tank here. Okay, turn the light on here. Let's see if we can get a look up in there. We can see, there it is. There's the nice little loop that the brake line is coming in on. So we got the brake line here coming straight up, and as I back out here, you can see, so we've got the clamp there and it heads down into the back. I'm going to try and take a couple of extensions and try and get up in there, but we've got basically the frame rail right here, right at the foreground here of this picture, and then the edge of the gas tank. So this isn't the gas tank's up inside of here, but right there. So bad pictures, sorry. But the point is, I got to get an extension up there, and I think that's a 13 millimeter. So I'm gonna see if I can get that off, and then we'll work our way backwards. In case you're wondering, the trick to get that out of there, it is a 13 millimeter. You can see 13 millimeter here. Is this really great set. If you don't have this, I highly recommend it. It saved me so many times working on older vehicles here. It's a set of reverse cutting sockets, and they come in all different sizes. I have both a metric and a standard set. This is the metric. But you can see what they have in here is a sort of a set of teeth. And when you run them in reverse, just as you would with a regular socket, when you're backing it out, except the difference is that these teeth, when they run in reverse, they dig in and cut into the metal just ever so slightly, and they really work fantastic. No more do you have to worry about rounding anything off. They cut in and dig and hold on, and then sometimes they can be a little bit of a challenge to get off. So I ended up getting the bolt out of there. So handy dandy little pipe wrench. Again, another little tool that I highly recommend if you're having problems with bolts. I went out and got this little pipe wrench here on the side, just because one time I broke the head off of a bolt, and boy did it save me. So just the bolt was luckily sticking out far enough that I was able to use this on the shaft of the bolt, and then back it out ever so carefully. Boy, that was, hold your breath during the whole time, but it's just a tiny little pipe wrench. So and then what I did now was just hold on to the end of this this bolt or screw here. So, but you can see back to these cutting sockets here. It doesn't really chew it up too bad, but when you're dealing with a sort of rounded, rusty bolt or screw here, that a lot of times I don't even bother anymore. I just grab these, especially now that I'm replacing the brake lines. A lot of these parts and pieces are going to be replaced anyways, and in this case, I just took a couple of extensions. I got a bunch of socket sets, and just reached up in there. So, but the project is coming along. So next I got to move on to the very back one. So I got most of the lines out already and disconnected. So, but it all comes down to the right tools, doesn't it? Every time. So here I am again, laying under the truck, and we're here at the rear wheel, and I'm trying to make sure that I've got all the lines, the brake line, the rear brake line here, ready to be disconnected. And I've heard that so if we look up here at the frame rail, so the frame rail runs obviously there along the whole front there, and I heard that there's this hole here, and I heard that there's another, so there you can see the brake line. I heard there's another clamp up in there, just like the one I just took off. So, and we'll see. I saw another video on YouTube somewhere that you have to get up in there and get another clamp. So I'm gonna use this here camera, so excuse the bouncing here, but I'm gonna see if I can get a good shot of it. So let's see if we come around the bottom of the axle here and around above the top. See if I can take a look back up in there. So it really isn't. These are the sort of projects you always say, man, wouldn't it be great to have somebody do this for you? Just pay somebody to take care of this. But geez, hate to pay people to do projects. So anyways, so here's the brake line. Let's see if we can get so I got it all loose, I hope. I don't know. It seems like there's another clamp there somewhere, which that's it there. I understand we got to clamp the brake line down to prevent vibrations and so on, but I mean, come on. This is a good reason to do a frame off, isn't it? Take the whole bed off. And so anyway, so we got to see why it's not coming loose. So it looks like maybe I just have to. There's another clamp. It looks like right there, and I'm gonna see if I can get to that one. And then the last part will be to take that, to disconnect it up in here, and obviously does not look so good. So what I typically have been doing is cutting the line off just ahead of that bolt. So I'll probably do that same thing here, and then I use those nice sockets. So I've got those reverse cutting sockets. I just put it on there. They've been typically a 12 millimeter. I think without exception they've been pretty much 12 millimeters. So we'll see. Hopefully that's the same here. We'll get that one off. So there's the brake line out, and you can see there's those brackets that I had to take out. There's one there, one here. Now, as you know, so the screws are here. So those are 13 millimeter, and then, like I said earlier, down at the end of the line. So obviously, first of all, it's in pretty bad shape. There's other parts laying over there at the front of the truck, so under the truck there. The length of this, now don't quote me, but exactly, but if you're really dying and you don't have any clue, I got about a little over 11 feet, about 11 and a half feet. I measured about 137 inches for this rear line that goes from that front junction block, which I'll show you. There's a junction right here under the front wheel. You can see I've already replaced one of the lines. I've actually replaced almost all of them. But it goes from here, from this block, all the way to the back, down along the frame rail, on the underside, all around to the back. So that's, like I say, about 11 and a half feet or so. And getting that last piece off was not a big deal. I just used a socket, and again, my nice reverse cutting sockets. That is a 12 millimeter, and but I just went ahead and broke all the lines. I wasn't really that concerned about it, so so just reached up in there, and you can see how nicely these grab in there. So I just buy straight sticks or maybe I'd buy a spool and just bend this. I guess as long as it's up along the frame rail, I personally don't get too concerned about it. Make sure it's strapped down well, that it's not bouncing around on you. I don't know that I'll be putting both of these back on. We'll see how I route it. I don't, all these exact twists and turns aren't super critical, as long as you get it in there and you're not kinked. I just bend it by hand, and I haven't had any problems bending it by hand. Your fingers might get a little sore with enough bends, but overall it's really pretty easy. So get it in there, make sure it's strapped down, use the standard brackets as much as you can, and you shouldn't have any problems. So good luck.